Hello and welcome to Udaiti Dialogue on Women and Economic Growth, a forum where we explore insights at the intersection of women, work, and growth through conversations with leaders from government, industry, and civil society to really understand better what inclusive growth looks like as India progresses towards becoming Viksit Bharat. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Mr. Alok Kumar, who is the Principal Secretary at the Planning Department in the state of UP and also the Nodal Officer for the state's ambitious $1 trillion economy mission. In this capacity, he plays a key role in UP's economic planning and shaping the development strategy. He's also been a crucial stakeholder, therefore, for women's workforce participation and women's empowerment initiatives. A very warm welcome to you, Alok ji. Thank you for making time.
Thank you, Pooja. And I'm also excited, just like you, I'm also excited to talk about V Index and its role in shaping women economic empowerment in our state.
Thank you. So let's dive straight in, Alok ji. A state as large and as complex as Uttar Pradesh, where so many development challenges compete for your attention and resources, how did you and the state leadership really decide that women's workforce participation is something that needs focused effort and attention?
You have already spoken about our $1 trillion economy mission. Our Honorable CM, some 3 to 4 years ago, in 21-22, he decided that our state should be the first state to become a $1 trillion economy in terms of gross state domestic product. So we have a complete first we devised our strategy. This was a 6 months planning phase, and then we are on the execution stage, and already we have spent 2 to 3 years around this, and we are really focused, and in all spheres of governance we are trying to make UP a progressive state, so that we are the first state to reach the $1 trillion economy figure. So, when we started this program, then somewhere we also we firmly believe that we cannot reach this $1 trillion economic figure or this mark unless we involve our women workforce into this. Women, like as you know, like they are 50% of this potential workforce,
Right.
and we cannot leave them behind.
Yeah.
So we have started with this very simple but very fundamental question: that how do we make women the center, the core of our growth story? So this is where it all began. And like when we started, then of course Mission UNNATI came. Udaiti Foundation, together with the Udaiti Foundation, we posed this question before us, that how to make, like if we want to achieve this women economic empowerment, that how to go about it. So we devised that we need to have some index as a tool to measure, to make us accountable. Not like every department should be made accountable towards women economic empowerment, every district should be accountable. So this is all where started, like we started. And then the next question was that how many levers it should have. So like when we talk about women's growth and their participation in our growth story, then together with Udaiti Foundation, we identified 5 levers. These are related to entrepreneurship, employment, education and skilling, livelihood, and most important of it, like women's safety and related governance issues. So like we identified 5 levers. Then the next question was that out of these 5 levers, how many indicators we should choose, and the indicators should be reflective of the complete lever which we are that. So all the ecosystem which is there in the lever, it should be represented in those indicators. So initially we together with Udaiti Foundation, we started with we started with some 200 plus indicators.
That is right.
And select any indicator, the most important criteria was this has to be gender disaggregated data.
Yeah.
And also because we are also focused on the district's participation in this entire campaign. So the data has also to be like district-wise data has to be made available. So we approached departments. There were many departments where the gender-wise disaggregated data was not there. The data was fragmented also. So slowly we started building up. We started screening all those indicators. So like finally we chose 49 indicators.
Yeah.
So now through these 49 indicators, we have ranked district. We have come up with this V index. So this is like in very brief.
Yeah.
This is how we started with the concept of V index and the data part of it. Again, like to add to this, that to me, V index is not just a dashboard.
Right.
It's a tool, it's a compass through which we are measuring our own performance, where in all, which all parameters we are lacking, where we need to pull up our socks, which all parameters we are doing good. So this is complete, like this is a mirror through which we can see that where exactly we are and what should be done in next few years, short term, medium term, to achieve the final objective of women economic empowerment.
Right, right. Absolutely. I think what you said about it being a compass and a tool for measuring your own progress. I remember our conversation about 2 years ago. I was coming into it cold, and one of the striking things for me is when you talk about gender or women's participation in the economy, it is something that cuts across all the different departments. So it's not like for education you can work with the Department of Education, or for transport you can work with the transport department. When you talk about gender, it gets from vocational education and training to urban development to rural development. It cuts across everything. So it was a mammoth kind of task to say, and every department is measuring and collecting data in its own way. But I remember our conversation, and you still had profound clarity on how you were going to go about it. It was a big task, but walk me through your thinking at that time as to how were you thinking about just getting so many departments aligned, collecting this data, and creating something that could then again be used by them in turn to make decisions.
Pooja, as you have told that this was a like very challenging task, like to make that all departments would sit together and think of something such complex like V index. Was it? Of course, this was a very tough task, but you might be knowing that I also worked in CM office,
That's
so
right.
I had this previous experience of dealing with so many departments also. So these all came handy in this campaign. Again, the question was that which department should own this.
Yeah.
Again, planning department, because we are already coordinating and reviewing with and we are working with so many departments, be it for our economic growth mission or other planning activities. So we decided that yes, we need to own this. The planning department needs to own this women economic empowerment index, or like the objective of women economic empowerment. And so like I firmly believe that if really are focused on something and we are determined to uh, achieve and reach our goal, then we can really do this. So,
Right.
so this is how it is. My experience and my firm determination was there that we can really make it happen.
Yeah.
And this is how we went about it.
Absolutely. So, Alokji, we have already collected one round of data, and now we are beginning to collect the next year's data already. What are some of the key insights that have emerged from looking at this data in a very comprehensive manner through the lens of V index? And secondly, how are departments and districts either beginning to use it or will use it to translate it into some form of action?
So, Pooja, as I told you that when we started with this entire campaign, and when we were sitting with the departments, then many of the departments were not like keeping this gender thing into their whole review system.
Right.
And they were not reviewing the gender disaggregated data. So when we came with this V index, so now we have the complete picture before us. So for many of the departments, what is the actual women participation, what is the percentage, in which all districts they are lacking. So these all insights we are getting through this V index. And to give you some of the insights, because like we have the whole report with us, and some of the very startling revelations which were which were not we were not expecting those things. For example, I will talk about ODOP, which is like one district, one product scheme. And we have two important programs in this. One is training and toolkit distribution. And then those who are trained and those who are provided this toolkit, then the next process is that government would like to provide them margin money and some credit access,
Right.
so that they are able to start their own business. When we looked at this figure, this was like a startling revelation to us also, that in ODOP training and toolkit, the women participation is around 57 to 58%. But when it comes to taking credit from the banks, it is just 25%.
Right.
So like the women are getting left out when they are going for this training program, but somehow because of our social system, because of the ecosystem which we have, they are not participating in the entrepreneurship part of this. So this has given a very important feedback to the department there, where should we work, in which all district we should work. Not only at the state level, when we talk about, when we go deeper into the district level, there are districts where the ODOP training and toolkit participation rate is 90% plus.
Yeah.
Like the out of total trainees,
Yeah.
90% are represented by women. The women are completely getting left out of this ODOP initiative. So again, for the margin money part also, there are districts where women are really doing good, and there are districts where we are still at a very, very low level. So we are mapped through V index. We have mapped the entire district, all districts and all programs across these levers. So now we have the insights. Again, if I talk about education and skilling, because education and skilling is the first cornerstone of
Right.
making a woman really empowered. For say polytechnics and technical engineering, it is important to get women enrolled in such professional courses. So like our engineering college there, in engineering college, women participation is somewhere around 25%. But when it comes to placement, then
Yeah.
it goes down to 14%.
Right.
Why is this so? Now we have the data.
Yeah.
Because earlier we were working on assumptions. But the best thing about the data, it is giving the clear picture before us, the factual data. So now we have the very clear data before us, that in which all districts placement in engineering colleges are lower. What can we do to improve this? They are like, we also organize Rozgar Mela. Every month we are organizing Rozgar Mela, employment fair, that is, in all our district. So we need to improve on those. So now we have the data. The data is before the department. The data is before the districts. The districts are working on it. All our district magistrates, they are very efficient, and we firmly believe that if district magistrates and together with the entire district administration, the line department, they are working together, and they are now they know that where exactly they stand. No district would like to be among bottom 20 or bottom 30%.
Right.
So they are working, and I'm sure that when we will release the second V index, I would say 2.0.
Yeah.
Then of course, like some of the districts would really improve, and we will see the overall improvement in all these data.
Right. Right. To your point of now that you have the data, I remember on the ODOP scheme, our team went into the field in one of the districts where women were trained on making carpets and daris. And because of the training, every house had some kind of a loom where the woman was working and creating these beautiful daris. But essentially, they were neither counted nor were they getting paid for it. So, and they're not like, it is the material comes to them, they do the work and hand it back, and it goes back to the agent. So it's the government has invested in the training,
Yes.
but how do we now take the next level of getting them to become entrepreneurs and benefit and get counted on it also, right? Absolutely. Also, the other point is, do you foresee that just because you are shining the light on this data and that there is an anchor department that is driving this, just the spotlight on gender disaggregated data overall will become more, and that even in departments you'll be able to collect better gender disaggregated data. My sense is that pretty much in every form there is this male female written, but whether it is presented in a usable fashion to the decision makers is a big question. And now, do you foresee that with this data, with the V index, even the gender disaggregated data collection itself will improve?
Yes, of course it will improve, Pooja, because when we have started with this indicator, so there are many indicators. So for every lever, we should have like various department are working towards achieving the goal of those levers, say employment. But there are departments where they don't have gender disaggregated data. So in the first year, they are not having this data. Then we also started the process of sensitization.
Right.
We called all these departments, we sat with them, and in this entire process of collecting data and coming up with a score for every indicator, these departments were sensitized. And this year, we are hoping that we will have many more such indicators, and which will make this V index more diverse and more representative of the actual ground reality which is going on.
Yeah.
So this is the thing in already we have started the process of, as you have yourself told, we have started the process of collecting the data. We will first finalize those indicators. Say in banks, credit access is very important thing. But there are many schemes which are run by state government. There we get the gender disaggregated data. But we have already approached the bank and the financial institutions that they should also provide us the gender, like they are collecting when they are applying for, any person is applying for those credit schemes, then they are filling that male, female, they are filling their gender. So if we can go a step further and the banks can help us in getting those gender disaggregated data, then this will give us a more complete insight into those programs which are very important, like PM Mudra scheme. This is a very important scheme for making women an entrepreneur. So like we have approached various departments, and I am pretty hopeful that we will have much more indicator this time.
Absolutely. Like you said, Alokji, that this is more of a compass and kind of a directional path it can show. And once you start to measure it, then it can get done. But this is still the first step. What does the next step look like? How do we ensure that this is now being used as a decision making tool by different departments? And how do we drive progress then, department by department, district by district, towards increased participation of women?
Look, I would answer it this way, that when we look into these figures, then we will have to identify what are those barriers which are preventing women from coming into the workforce.
Right.
So through all these data, we have come up with certain actionable points.
Yeah.
At the state level, at the department level also. Like one of the most important thing which we have find out is that we need to provide women a working women hostel in every district. This is very important.
Right.
Through our various internship program and apprenticeship program, though we are selecting girls, we are asking them, we are sending them to these locations, but when they are not finding suitable living space for them, then they are again going back to their villages.
Yeah.
So this is getting reflected in our data also.
Right.
So there are many insights which we are getting, and some of those actionable points are cutting across the department.
Yeah.
So as I told, that women working hostel, so this again becomes, this is not a action point for one department.
Right.
Women welfare department has to be involved in it, housing, urban development, industrial development authorities, because like they are the industrial development authority, like Noida, Greater Noida, they are the biggest employer, and they are having presence of so many employer and factories and firms and IT firms in those area. So through active coordination with all these departments, we are trying to make sure that the most important actionable items which are there, we need to address those things. Now, moving to like apart from these such action items which are needed across the department, there are other action items which are needed at the departments level.
Yeah.
Say we have for mobility and safety and mobility, we have some of the indicators which we have identified relates to, say, bus conductor or a provision of a bus driver who is a woman in a
Yeah.
bus. When you
Yeah.
are traveling, then you will of course feel secure.
That's right.
So right now, though we have started this thing, but they are very like almost negligible. But we have some women drivers, but in our UPSRTC and other like public buses. But we need to increase this.
Yes.
We need to increase our women conductors in these buses.
Yeah.
So these are action points which have to be taken care at the department level. So what we are doing is we are pushing these departments to have their own gender action plan.
Yeah.
Thanks to our honorable CM, he takes very active interest in all this, and he reviewed the entire V index, and it was when it was presented to him, then he went through all those levers, all those indicators, and he gave directions to like almost all those departments who are supposed to contribute towards women economic empowerment.
Yeah.
So like be it again, as I told you about transport department. So transport department is having their own, like they are the first department to have their own gender action plan. But then we have home department. We need to ensure that we have good enough participation of women in our police workforce,
Right.
in our home guard system, just to make sure that women are comfortably when they are moving, then they feel safe and secure. So like we are having gender action plan for every department. Every department should have a gender action plan. Say MSME,
Yeah.
very important department, as we talked about ODOP and other such schemes. So like they will be having their own gender action plan. Our skill department, they will be having their own gender action plan. So this way we are moving, and I'm sure that you will in very near future you will see a difference when we talk about, say, most important one of those like final indicator or the final outcome is female labor force participation rate.
Yeah.
So in UP, we have achieved a reasonable amount of success. I would say that in just 8 years, from 14%, a level of just 14% women participation in the workforce, we have moved to 35%.
Yes.
And now the gap in the states women participation rate and the we have closed the gap. Now it is just 9%. But we have to again, like we have to keep improving this. So we are also focused on involving all our districts into this entire campaign.
Right.
So there are districts which are doing good, there are districts which are not doing good. But now through this V index, this is the first time that what this tool has provided is a complete analytical tools through which the district magistrate or our chief development officers, every officer who is working for some or other scheme involved in women strengthening their empowerment. So now they are provided with this tool where they are able to assess themselves,
Right.
and improve further and further.
Absolutely. I mean, as you were talking about the transport department and women bus conductors and drivers, it occurred to me UP is one of the states that has dismantled the night shift laws.
Yes.
So as manufacturing comes into the state and we want more and more women entering manufacturing, that will be one of the big levers for women's safety as we think about women's mobility, ensuring that they get safely home from their workplaces to their homes, both mobility and housing around that. And those are complex, like you said, because it is managed by so many different departments now.
In fact, to add, Pooja, like we have also got support from Niti Ayog, and Niti Ayog they have written a letter to all the states that if there is any legislation which is preventing women to enter into workforce, we should identify those legislation and we should work for amendment in those legislation which are becoming a barrier.
Right.
So this is a very good thing which is happening. Again, to add, like as I mentioned that our district magistrate, they have got a tool in their hand, but we have to make this tool really dynamic. It has to be dynamic in nature.
Yes. Yes.
So what we have done is that out of this as of now, we have 49 indicators. As I told that we'll certainly increase these indicators. So there are some of those indicators which are where we are getting data on a quarterly basis or a monthly basis. So we will come up with a dashboard. This will be a live dashboard where we will be updating the figures which we are getting through all these departments under various schemes. And this will be a something really like which you can call a real time dashboard,
Yeah.
which will be very helpful for our district magistrates, because when a district magistrate will look at a data which is 1 or 2 year old, then he will not have that motivation.
Right.
But when he is acting,
Yeah.
and he will see the progress which is getting reflected on this dashboard,
Yeah.
then he will get motivated and his entire team will get motivated.
Absolutely.
So again, we are working to make this more live, more dynamic in nature, and more reflective of the ground realities.
Got it. Yeah. So Alokji, this has been a massive exercise, and of course, Uttar Pradesh has become the first state to really measure women's participation in the economy at a systemic level through V Index, and then now phase 2 of the work is going on. The exciting part about this is that a number of other states are now beginning to consider it. And as we think about it, I think there is a balance that we need to strike between the richness and the complexity of the data through the number of indicators we are looking at, and through keeping it simple, trackable, easily manageable. As you said, we started with some 200 indicators, now come down to 49. How should other states think about it in terms of striking that right balance?
First of all, Pooja, again, let me thank you, the Udaiti Foundation, for coming together with us. And yes, we should feel proud that we are the first state to come up with this very important V Index, Women Economic Empowerment Index, and we really take pride in this. Now, coming to your question on how to make this also strike a balance between the richness and the simplicity, I would say that, take the example of SDG Index, Sustainable Development Index, which is monitored by both MOSPI and Niti Aayog. We have a national indicator framework, and then we have a SDG Index, where there are a hell lot of indicators. About 113 indicators are there in the SDG Index. So when we are trying to come up with any such index where we are measuring some performance as this is a composite index. So the final figure would be one, the SDG index, where you can rank different states, where you can come up with the final composite score. But it has to be representative of the entire scheme of things, the entire levers which you are trying to strike at.
Yeah.
So the same goes with SDG index, same will go with V index also. So for the other states also, this will be the same exercise which they need to follow. We need to identify those indicators which are really representative of those particular levers. And finally, there will be a composite index. So, but when we are dividing this 113 or say 100 indicator or say 49 indicators in our case, so we are dividing into 5 different boxes, 5 different levers, and we need to monitor every lever. So of course, this will be a complex, but also at the same time, this is a very important to keep as many indicators as we need to score maybe every scheme or every interventions which we are doing at the government level. We need to score, we need to see that what is the impact of that particular scheme or intervention, policy intervention. And when we find that if this intervention or this scheme is crossing a certain branch threshold, then we must include those indicators in our index and in our this entire system of indicators. Even though it is increasing number of indicators, no issue, but we need to keep those indicators which are meeting certain benchmarks. So this I would say. And but when we are monitoring and when we are acting on those indicators, then say, for example, again, I would go back to SDG index. So we have different goals and we are working on every goal. In every goal, there are certain indicators and we need to work on every indicator.
Right.
No indicator or no policy intervention which is important for these SDG goals, it cannot be left behind. So it is not so complex, I would say, and it can be broken down into different lever and different actionable points. And the districts and those who are supposed to act on these index, they would really find it useful, and they will, I will say that they will come up with their own proxy indicators also.
Yeah.
As in SDG also, we have come up with various proxy indicators which are giving us real-time data on where exactly what we are doing, where exactly we are going, is it in the right direction. So I would say that this is, of course, we will have number of indicators, but this will be workable. And our district magistrates and all those who are working with government, they are intelligent enough to work on this.
Alokji, thank you for sharing not just the data and the strategy, but also the execution pathways to get it done. What strikes me is that it is not just about measurement, but a new discipline for governance and also a new vocabulary to make women's economic participation more visible and more measurable along with other performance indicators. Systems change happens when we can move from good intentions to precise accountability. The data is there, the political will is there, measurement tools like V index is there. Now it is all about execution and persistence. Thank you so much for joining us for Udaiti Dialogues on Women and Economic Growth. Thank you, Alokji.
Thank you so much, Pooja.